The Leadville, Colorado and Southern originated as a branch of the Denver South Park and Pacific from Dillon, Colorado to Leadville, Colorado, where it joined up with the Denver and Rio Grande's Tennessee Pass line. After 1941, only the Leadville to Climax section remained, and remained part of the Burlington Northern system until 1986, when it was sold to the Leadville, Colorado and Southern Railway. On display at the Leadville Depot is Colorado and Southern Standard Gauge 280 number 641. This locomotive was built in 1906 by Alco and was used on the branch between 1943 and 1962, making it the last steam locomotive used by the Colorado and Southern. It has been on display here ever since. It's quite neat to see this locomotive has been preserved where it once worked. Instead of the Burlington route logo, there's this history plate on the side of the tender. I even managed to get a peek inside the cab. The other side of the tender is left unpainted. I also noticed this grate on the ash pan to keep ashes from falling out where it shouldn't be. And its left cylinder is taped over. And there are 3 different axle boxes on this tender. You can see 2 different ones on this truck alone. Inside the depot, there's this picture of the line in narrow gauge days. And this painting of Not Thomas. The diesel locomotive powering today's excursion train is number 1714, a GP9 built in 1955 for the Northern Pacific. This locomotive still retains its Burlington Northern number. The train is comprised of a series of gondola cars with and without roofs, a box car for snacks, and 2 cabooses. Something else to note is that the Leadville, Colorado and Southern is the highest regular adhesion railroad line in North America, at 11,201 feet above sea level. On the other side of town, there still is the old Rio Grande Depot. It's amazing that this long depot also survives in Leadville. Surrounding the old depot are some rocks with some holes for blasting, and some other old mining machinery, including this elevator, and some other equipment. I don't think this is any part of an official museum. Speaking of such, there are some other mining machinery up at Climax, Colorado along the highway, including this electric mining locomotive. This one, number 81, ran on overhead wires even into the mine shafts. And inside the control seat, there's a spare knuckle coupler. And this is how tall someone looks when they're sitting in it. I would love to see one of these things running at a railway museum. I believe this wheel on the hopper car is to dump the contents. And some have spilled out on the other side. There's even an information board about the Leadville, Colorado and Southern route. Also on display at this little park is a scooper. The mechanism is very easy to get to. Also on display is this battery electric mining locomotive. This type of locomotive was probably more common since you didn't have to stick wires in the mine shafts. And only the brake wheel remains in this one. I believe this is where all the batteries would have been. Also on display are these smaller, more traditional mine carts. They have their numbers welded in. And there's also this small one with the rest of them. And they're also of a smaller gauge. And to finish off this video, here are some pictures that I took of the Tennessee Pass line. The Tennessee Pass line runs from Canyon City to Dot Zero, Colorado, and was abandoned by the Union Pacific in the late 90s. As all traffic on this line has been rerouted over the Moffett Tunnel line. There are currently plans for a new operator to buy the route. But that does it for this video. Thank you guys for watching.